What is the gate-kept secret to lean bulking with a fast metabolism? If you think what's holding back your gains is your metabolism, then this video is for you. Now, what many people don't know is that there's a hidden principal mediator that causes you to be very resistant to gaining weight. I'll guide you through the 4 main chapters of this video to resolve your issue as a hard gainer. First, we'll begin with the question of, do you have a metabolic issue? And simply, the answer is no. After going through lots of studies regarding this issue, where lots of you are trying to build muscle quickly but are struggling a lot because of metabolism. One of the epiphanies I want to share with you is that almost all of us have a very similar RMR, which is resting metabolic rate. Yes, your RMR can differ if you're a male or female, as well as body scale differences, but we all almost have a very similar metabolic rate. Now, a famous example of someone who struggled to put on weight is Joe Fazer. And over the years, a lot of people have seen that he put on a fair amount of muscle after struggling with putting on weight at a young age. So what did he do? Did he find out what was truly stopping him from gaining muscle as fast as he can? Or was it just simply luck? I want you to keep in mind that Joe, over the years, has been introducing more hypertrophy-inducing exercises for his program, as well as adding very beneficial training cues to his exercises. And now I want you to hold on that thought because we'll get there very soon. Here are the 4 most common mistakes holding you back from gaining lean muscle. Reaching for the stars with a ladder too short. I have recreational lifters who I guide proudly tell me that they ate so much in a given day. Those same recreational weightlifters decided not to track their food. Like many other people that I know that are especially students who don't really want to track their food because they just can't be asked. Now, this issue causes a problem. When you're not tracking your calories and not aware of how much you eat, you're most likely either eating more than you should, and for most people that are watching this video, you're probably eating less than what you should be. And there is a study that has shown that a lot of people overestimate their caloric intake. So before blaming your metabolism or any physiological issue that you might have, double check that you're actually eating enough calories every single day. So the first mistake is overestimating your caloric intake. The second mistake is even greater than what we just first mentioned. Missing that sweet spot. And what do I mean by sweet spot? We'll get there in a bit. If we had 2 people, person A doing about 7 to 8 exercises and person B doing around 1 to 2 exercises in a day, which of the 2 are you going to think is going to be building more muscle? You'll probably say person A, obviously, when actually both are training insufficiently. The person that is training sufficiently is actually person C. Now, I'm sorry that I didn't show you that person, but person C found that sweet spot that we were just talking about. While this topic needs its own video to explain, all you just need to know is that training sufficiently is so important before blaming any other factor. You might need to ask yourself, is your volume too little or too much? Because once you're at that sweet spot of that U-bell curve, you are training optimally and most effectively for hypertrophy. Also, you gotta ask yourself, are you training hard enough? Are you going close to failure or not? So before pointing fingers on your metabolism and nutrition, first look at your volume and intensity during your exercises. Now, our third mistake is incorrect movement. Now, if you're aiming for hypertrophy, I don't think you'll be doing 1 hour of cardio every session. And also, you won't spend your time doing 40 reps on your squats. What you'll be doing are hypertrophy inducing exercises, the ones that allow the stretch of the muscle and actually effectively target the muscle groups that you're trying to grow and cause a stimulus for muscle growth. So always make sure that you're actually doing the correct exercises before blaming any other factor to why you're not putting on muscle. Now, the most exciting question, are you a hard gainer? Do you have a metabolic issue? Now, we've already discussed that almost everyone has a very similar core metabolism, but there is something that makes everyone's overall burning rate widely different. With this in hand, let's look at what makes up your total daily energy expenditure. And if you don't know what total daily energy expenditure is, it's how much your maintenance calories are, how much you burn in a day. Studies have shown that your resting metabolic rate barely changes whenever you're lean bulking or you're cutting as well. But there are 3 factors that actually do change, and 2 of them have a strong impact on your burning rate. Now, I need you to know that your body is actually very, very smart and very adaptive. And when you're lean bulking, your body tends to want to balance things out. So it responds with an adaptation. And the reason for this is because it wants to keep your weight constant. So how does your body work against the extra calories you're giving it? Well, if you look at someone that's lean bulking, you might see them start fidgeting more, walking around more. He's way more hyper and more energetic in the day. And especially if you're doing a correct program while you're lean bulking, you're doing more volume than you are when you're cutting. And also, while you're bulking, you are eating more. I think you're kind of getting the gist of it now. So coming back to what makes up our TDEE. A paper done by Gary John and also Eric Helms being involved in this paper, shout out to him, as well as other studies have shown that one of the factors to increasing your burning rate in the day is from increased food intake. And this is where we come and talk about TEF, thermic effect of food, and unfortunately you really can't do anything about it. Now here's the biggest factor to why people burn more or less than others, and surprisingly it is your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Now a study done by Levi and colleagues have shown how much of a big impact NEAT has during a lean bulk. When they overfed a group of people, 2/3 of their increased total daily energy expenditure came from increased levels of NEAT. Now the issue with Levi and colleagues' paper is that the people that they overfed were not doing any resistance training. So what we take from this doesn't really apply to resistance trained athletes. Now don't get me wrong, this paper is a very good insight to what can happen when you overfeed your body. Now I obviously think that training has a huge impact on how much you burn on a day-to-day basis. Exercise actually has a very small impact to your overall burning rate on a daily basis. Now enough with the deep dive, because there are a lot of factors that are involved when it comes to your energy loss due to hypertrophy, and actually lots of them still need a lot of more research. But for now you should know that NEAT can be a strong impact to your overall burning rate. Now we all know that one person that has a very high metabolism and they're just genetically gifted, and Allahumma barik, they are doing very well. And I wanted to take a real life anecdote and ask one of my friends who are genetically gifted with high metabolism and see when they're lean bulking, how does their body actually react. Now we're gonna ask him a few questions of his lifestyle so we can know how his body reacts to a lean bulk. I had a few questions I wanted to ask you about, and it's related to my video. And a lot of people that think that they have a high metabolism, and that's why they are considered hard gainers and they can't gain weight at all. But I wanted to ask you, do you consider yourself someone that has high metabolism?
Yeah, relatively compared to like other people, I can be sure that I have a high metabolism just compared to other people.
I'm not sure if you're still lean bulking right now, but when you're lean bulking, how many calories are you eating?
So it depends on the stage of my bulk. Starting off, it started off at 4K, and then it gradually went up peak bulk to like 4.6, 4.7. At that point, I just put on more fat than I did muscle.
Give us an idea of how many days you work out relative to the amount of calories you eat. How much do you burn? So how many days do you work out?
So on average, on a consistent week, I train 5 days a week.
Tell us, do you actually think you accurately track your calories, or is it more of an estimate throughout the day?
Oh yeah, I do track my calories. However, just not as strictly as before.
Okay. Could you tell us, on average, how many steps do you have on a weekly average?
Okay, yeah, that's easy. So I commute to uni either through a bike or walking. Usually the bike's if I'm in a rush. But my uni I live in town, so I live in the city center. My uni is a bit further. So it's around a 45-minute walk. So going and coming back is around 10K. If I was to walk. But as I said, if I'm not late, then I just walk it, and if I am late, then I just bike.
Okay, that's very interesting. Now, do you engage in a lot of chores at home on a daily basis?
Yeah, so I live alone, so basically I do everything on my own. I just do everything on my own. Any chores, anything that has to be done, I have to do it. I think no one's going to do it for me.
Yeah. Another interesting question is, do you fidget a lot? Do you find yourself at home fidgeting a lot?
maybe, like, I never thought about it, but I notice myself if I drink like some coffee or have any caffeine, my leg starts just involuntarily moving, especially when I'm studying.
Yeah.
The only reason I notice this is because people comment on it a lot.
Yeah. Okay, now the final question, Michael. How much protein do you have on a daily basis?
Okay, so this is the only thing I am actually consistent with. I've been training for the past 3 years, or maybe a bit more, but consistently for the past 2 or 3 years. I'd say I've been consistently eating around 220 and above for the past 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's an impressive intake. Now, with all of your answers, it makes a lot of sense why your body tends to burn a lot, and 4,700 calories might just do it, or 4,000 calories might just do it, so you can actually have a successful lean bulk. So as you heard, almost everything that we just mentioned happened while he was lean bulking, and that's why he's eating a lot of calories every single day. If you're struggling with gaining lean muscle, here are 5 evidence-based tips for muscle gain. For this to be evidence-based, we need to get into proper uniform. Tip number 1, eat high density foods. Examples of these are eating high fat food like peanut butter, avocados, and fatty meat. You can also include some junk like burger and fries, but at a moderate amount. Also, the reason why calorie dense foods actually work is because it takes less space in your stomach. The higher the volume the food is in your stomach, the more it can tell your body that it's full. But the lower the volume the food is and the more calories, the less likely you're going to be satiated from that meal. Also, I want to mention that in the description below there's a lean bulk cheat sheet. Now in that sheet I share examples of foods that you can have during a lean bulk and meals, so it can help you eat more and have a successful lean bulk. Moving on with the second tip, which is to drink your calories. You may have heard this before, and I'm telling it to you again. Grab a blender and get some milk, whey protein, bananas, oats, peanut butter, and maybe some chocolate too. Blend them together and just drink up. And you can get creative with it. The reason liquids are better than solid food is simply the concept of volume in your stomach. Liquids induce a lower satiety response than solids. The third tip is to eat at different times of the day. Spread out your meals. For some people, it has been shown effective that having snacks is a great way to overeat. You know, as we go by this video, it's like all these tips are the opposite advice for a person who wants to lose weight. Anyways, so you want to aim to increase eating frequency by 5 to 9 meals or snacks a day if you're struggling with lean bulking. Our fourth tip we already have touched upon, and that is tracking your calories. Many overestimate how much they eat and think they're eating their fridge when they only finished half a sandwich. So start getting accountable. Our last tip, and here is when you have done everything you can and you're still not gaining weight. For this tip to work, you are highly encouraged to weigh yourself every single day. Now, assuming you are tracking your calories and you're eating 3,000 calories consistently, and you measure yourself for 2 weeks and your weight is still not increasing. If you are new to the gym and getting stronger every single week, and you're putting on muscle and losing fat at the same time, that is probably why your weight is the same. But if you're past your honeymoon phase of 3 to 6 months of fast muscle gain and your weight is still the same, then here's what you can do. For 1 week, increase your calories carefully by 200 calories. Many of those calories should come from carbohydrates. Measure your weight daily for 2 weeks and see if a change occurs. If your weight increases, then bingo. If not, then add another 150 to 200 calories from a carbohydrate source, until you find the calorie intake that causes you to gain weight/muscle. And with all of that, you should make sure you're getting stronger across all of your exercises in the gym, because that is your strongest indication of muscle growth. Not everyone knows how to do a cheat meal correctly, and at the end, it kind of ruins their progress. So check out this video right here to know if cheat meals are worth it or not. And I'll see you guys in the next one.